This dude named Robert Jeffress here on screen, I want to do a throwback and look at some of the old stuff that he said around the 2020 election. Fascinating stuff. He basically prophesied that the world would be destroyed if Biden won the 2020 election or whatever. Just listen to this.
It's very clear to me that the average American citizen loves this president, and they're not buying into all of this impeachment nonsense.
There is a fear that if the left ever regains control of this country again, our nation is finished. And look, I said this on Fox and Friends yesterday, and the president retweeted my comments last night. Look, the Democrats knew they couldn't beat him at the ballot box in 2016. They are becoming increasingly aware of the fact that they can't beat him in 2020 either.
Oopsie daisy. Just picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies on that one, didn't he?
Impeachment is the only option they have to remove Donald J. Trump from office.
So this is from 2019. This is his first impeachment, I believe, early October.
And look, I heard this sanctimonious Nancy Pelosi this weekend calling for prayer for our country, praying for prayer. Look,
that prayer worked real well, didn't it?
Reminds me of an arsonist, a pyromaniac with a match in his hand about to set a building on fire saying, now pray with me that the destruction I'm about to cause isn't too severe. I mean, if he's sincere, he'll put down the dang match. And if Nancy Pelosi is sincere about bringing this nation together, she will drop this impeachment effort. Let the American people decide 1 year from now at the ballot box.
Okay, well, the people decided. And look at that. The left didn't destroy the country. But when the right got in power again, we found ourselves in a situation where we're literally in a dictatorship now. You know, I used to write titles for my videos like, are we entering dictatorship, or is fascism on its way, or whatever. I can't even do that anymore. We're there. And everybody knows that we are there.
She is uncomfortable. She's scared to death at what the American people will choose to do, and that is to keep Donald J. Trump in office.
You know, we just assume they're praying to God. I'm not quite sure. I don't know, Dr. Jeffress. I mean, they booed God, tried to vote him out of the party platform. I mean,
well, and apparently the God they worship is the God of the pagan God of the Old Testament, Moloch, who allowed for child sacrifice.
Oh, please.
I mean, the God of the Bible doesn't sanction the killing of millions and millions of children in the womb.
Dude, I get so sick of these anti-abortion arguments. This is just nonsense. The Bible is pro-abortion, okay? Numbers 5:11-23. If your wife cheats on you, for example, you should get an abortion. There is nothing anti-abortion in the Bible. The one verse these people use is a verse about God knowing the names of all of the prophets in the Bible. Like, he remembers all of the prophets before they're born or whatever. And they're like, well, you know, what if you're aborting a prophet? It's a fucking joke.
I think the God they are worshiping is the God of their own imagination.
It's very...
God, the irony behind somebody like this saying that. Check this clip out from Jeffress.
By the way, guys, check out my new shop, owenmorgan.com/shop. I have a bunch of really cool designs on there.
Persecution is incremental. Understand it. The German people would have never stood for the Nazis putting Jews in the crematorium at the beginning. They never would have stood for that.
At the beginning? I mean, this was happening. It was all very fast. Like, it was sudden. In the 30s, there was an election in 1933, and Hitler lost the election, but was appointed chancellor by the winner, Paul von Hindenburg. And then everything just kind of fell apart, like within a month or two. It was a lot like the United States. You know, Germany's never been easier to understand. 1930s Germany. The rise and everything of this extremism, never been easier to understand.
First of all, marginalize the Jewish people. They're not like we are. They are inferior from us. They don't have the same rights as we do, and only after they had marginalized and isolated the Jews were they able to implement the final solution that resulted in 6 million Jews being murdered. Are Christians in America being executed today? No, not yet anyway.
That's fucking disgusting right there. This guy claims Christians are being treated like Jews in Germany in the 30s. That is fucking disgusting. You want to know what's happening right now in the United States? I'll show you what's happening right now. This Right here. 8/26/25, 8:39 p.m., Los Angeles. A van with ICE agents inside and no license plate. No license plate on the back of this van. What looks like young girls in the van. You got a shot of their face. See? No license plate. You get a shot of their face as they're driving by. They look like kids, young girls. And we have no way to track this down. We have no way to follow up and make sure that this is not a human trafficking ring or whatever. This is what we're dealing with. You want to talk about what happened in Germany? It has never been easier to understand. This is a U.S. citizen they're detaining here, quote unquote.
Hey, that's illegal. Man, what up? No, yeah, dude. And he's not even doing nothing wrong. He takes, what the f***?
U.S. citizen. How about this one? It's a video of a mom literally having a baby ripped from her arms. They are literally going to rip a baby from her arms, and this is her kid. This is what is happening right now. I'm telling you, Germany's never been easier to understand. Now, who does Robert Jeffress think? Who did he say? I missed it. Who did he say he thinks is being treated like Jews in Germany in the 30s? What group? What minority group was it?
They're taking her baby or something.
These are evil human beings. Here's another one.
Anyone who cares about freedom and safety should be fighting back. Here to discuss all of this is Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. Todd, good to see you. Thanks for coming on the Sunday morning. So we already had Tim Walz and Congressman Dan Goldman refer to ICE as the Gestapo. Now we have this councilman in San Diego calling ICE terrorists and urging people to fight back against ICE, which feels like it's getting up to that line of incitement. Your response to what these folks are saying?
Well, hey, Bill, thanks for having me on again. I'll tell you right off the bat, it's just plain out disgusting. For any elected official to say that ICE is terrorists or to fight back against us when we're doing our law enforcement duty is outrageous.
Dude, what is... Okay, those eyebrows, I think this is a Democrat on the right, but those eyebrows, brother, you got to do something about that. Those eyebrows and that hair do not match, okay? Fix it. Sign up for my Patreon. I'd really appreciate that very much. It would mean so much to me. This is like a really precarious moment in history, in U.S. history, and for me personally, so it would mean a lot if you sign up for my Patreon. Check out cultarchive.org. I did a cult test, basically, where you can see if you're in a cult, and you can look at the historical tests of other groups that already went through this. Also, check out my merch. I have a whole bunch of really cool shirts and stuff. Really interesting. I would really appreciate that.
No political official should be wanting any type of violent engagement with ICE. ICE is out there.
I don't want a violent confrontation with ICE. I don't. I also don't want ICE literally carrying people away, never to be seen again.
Every day performing their law enforcement mission. We should be supported, not being called Nazis, not being villainized.
Then don't be fucking Nazis. You ever knock that one around the old noggin? You don't want to be called Nazis, don't be Nazis.
So for these elected officials to get on their soapbox and put the men and women of ICE at risk by making these inflammatory statements is unreal.
Okay, this is an awful song, but the point is, this is Nazi right here. It's Nazi. Here's Tom Homan explaining, he's the head of ICE right now, I think, or I'm not sure what his relationship is with Todd Lyons or whatever, but Homan explains that he is racially profiling people.
I've got to get your reaction to this Biden-appointed federal judge out in Los Angeles, apparently expected today to issue a temporary restraining order halting your lawful operations. She says, I think it's important for the court not to burden otherwise lawful law enforcement activities. Your reaction there?
Look, people need to understand, ICE officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. They just need the totality of the circumstances, right? They
do need probable cause. He's saying these people, he's saying that United States citizens or anybody, nobody needs Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure. He's saying no one needs their Fourth Amendment right. That's what he's getting at here. If you're detaining somebody, then you get a whole big list of rights that you can use against them as an officer. Like you can search them and things like that. You can't just detain anybody for no reason.
Observation, get articulable facts based on their location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. Like a uniformed border station walks up to them at for instance, a Home Depot. And they got all these articulable facts, plus the person walks away or runs away. Agents are trained what they need to detain somebody temporarily and question them. It's not probable cause, it's reasonable suspicions. We're trained on that. Every agent, every 6 months gets...
And what's the reasonable suspicion? Having dark skin, of course.
Get Fourth Amendment training over and over again. These officers are really good at what they do. And if this judge is making a decision that's against what these officers are trained, what the law is based upon, then they're going to shut down operation. I think that's...
Yeah, dumb. The judge defines the bounds of the law. That's what judges are for. So guess what? If the judge rules against what training these people receive, then they receive new training. That's how this works.
It's their end game. They want ICE to stop doing this, but if they base it on the rule of law, they're going to find out Border Patrol and ICE is doing exactly what they're going to do in accordance with law.
And you're not going to stop coming. Tom Homan, thank you for getting up with us this morning.
Absolutely fucking disgusting, dude. These people are evil. And one day, mark my words, there will be a history book with this guy's face in it next to a description of evil. You know, there's an image called Eyes of Hate is the name of it. Eyes of Hate. And the image is of Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, the moment that he realized the cameraman was Jewish. Eyes of Hate. This is in history books today. You can look at this picture in history books. One day, it's going to be like that for this face. When Trump dies of natural causes, God willing, don't want anything to happen to the guy. I'm just saying, when he dies, in 20 years or whatever, there's going to be nobody to defend his reputation anymore. Nobody's going to care anymore. No one's going to want anything to do with it. They're going to burn their MAGA hats. And every single person who took part in this all along the way is going to prison for the rest of their lives. Pam Bondi is pretty young. She's going to spend the rest of her life in prison one day. She's going to get there and she's not going to be able to get out. Anyway, just vile, evil, disgusting, trash, all of them. Now, let's listen one more time to Robert Jeffress tell us about how he believes that he's being treated like Jews in Germany.
Being executed today? No, not yet anyway. But don't be mistaken. Churches and broadcasters who stand for biblical truth are being marginalized. Churches and broadcasters who insist that God is the one who makes us male or female. People who insist that marriage is between one man and one woman. Or who insist that abortion is nothing but cold-blooded murder.
He thinks people who believe that stuff are being treated like Jews in Germany.
Or who insist that there is only one way to God and it is through faith in Jesus Christ. They are being marginalized and the persecution is coming.
This is complete and total delusion. It was delusion then, it's delusion now. Absolutely psychotic. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. These people are vile.